Quiz voting there. Well, Labor can win the federal election if Kevin Rudd is returned to the job he was stripped of 3 years ago. That's the opinion of Bruce Hawker, the Labor strategist who helped negotiate the agreement for Julia Gillard's minority government. But can they and will they do it? In exactly 2 weeks, it will be 3 years since Kevin Rudd was forced to step down as Prime Minister. Today, Rudd could be on the brink of the biggest comeback in Australian political history.
There's a real concern amongst the Australian public that Kevin Rudd was removed in a highly inappropriate way.
Labor political strategist Bruce Hawker was instrumental in negotiating on behalf of Julia Gillard with the independents to form a minority government after she failed to win enough votes to govern outright at the 2010 election. Hawker also helped Kevin Rudd during his ill-fated challenge to regain the leadership last year.
On the day he was removed, he had 52% of the vote. That was a majority of 23 seats over the Conservatives. Today, they look like losing 34 seats.
When Kevin Rudd was removed by Julia Gillard and the so-called faceless men of Labor, he remained preferred Prime Minister in the polls with a striking margin of 46% to Tony Abbott's 17%. Contrast that with today, where as sitting Prime Minister, Julia Gillard trails Tony Abbott 35% to 43%. As for the government's electoral standing, when Rudd was deposed, Labor held a commanding two-party preferred lead of 52 to 48 over the coalition. Now, Labor faces its worst ever loss at 42%, 16 points behind the coalition's 58%. If Kevin Rudd is handed back the job of Prime Minister, a recent poll found he would immediately restore Labor's fortunes, lifting the current two-party preferred vote of 42% by 7 points to 49%. The opposition has been preparing an attack campaign for Rudd's return, featuring his own colleagues criticising him in early 2012.
He's clearly been disloyal internally.
But Bruce Hawker believes that such an attack will only serve to strengthen Rudd's support for one simple yet key reason.
The whole psychology in the Australian electorate is that Kevin Rudd was the Prime Minister and they elected him, and then the Labor caucus removed him. If they were to go to somebody else, it would not satisfy the Australian public's concerns about the way in which he was removed.
Bill Shorten is possible future leader. He, other ministers and Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, her ministers and the union power brokers who put her in the lodge were today all keeping quiet, while behind the scenes they battle it out for the last time. And the odds of Kevin Rudd winning an election?
I think we'd be a 50-50 proposition.
Whoever emerges the victor seems destined to either take up the challenge or lead the way into oblivion.